Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. So I had some time to finally catch up on some reading and some podcasts that I've been meaning to get to, but I haven't just because I'm trying to keep the channel alive. And I hope this topic won't be too touchy for some people because I think it could be potentially be very upsetting, but I feel like it's very important to cover since this channel is mostly about high yield ETFs, and I thought this could be like a really important topic for people that hold high yield ETFs as well. And I think the state of retirement savings is quite depressing, and I kind of want to go over why. So I listened to David Einhorn interview. For those of you who don't know, he's quite a famous hedge fund manager, especially back in 2008. He was one of the first managers that was able to successfully short Lehman Brothers during the last financial crisis. So he's pretty smart guy, there's a few important points in this interview, so you can listen to it at your own leisure. But there's some important takeaways as to how this relates to like retirement savings. In general, I've noticed there's quite a lot more passive investing, and unfortunately, that seems to like crowd out like people that used to be like active managers for a living. So in general, I would say like the space overall does less competition from competent analysts. And the second point that I've noticed is that people have that are very successful, they have very concentrated portfolios. And the third point is that the financial industry has weak regulations from the SEC, and I can do a whole topic on that, a whole video just on that topic alone. But I guess I'll leave that for now. But he did manage to end the podcast on a positive note. That he's trying to build bridges between different communities because he's said that we're living in a quite fractured society, and I agree. And I guess another factor into why retirement saving is so dismal, and again, I don't want to be mean to people, but there's I'm just gonna call them idiots just because I can't find like another word for it. I mean, I wish this article wasn't real. So, and I've linked this in the description below. So there's a 24-year-old astrologer. Well, first he lost 400 over 400K, and I'm not sure how he was able to get that much money. But anyway, he lost it all by day trading crypto, and now this person lives on credit card debt. Again, I wish this wasn't real. I mean, this is quite sad. I mean, if you're a 24-year-old and you manage to scrape and save and get like 400K, I mean that's already like fairly good for most 20-year-olds. But then he blew it all day trading crypto, and the sad part is now he's living on credit card debt. It's just like quite upsetting, and that leads me to like the next point. And I'm kind of worried about Zoomers and future generations. There seems to be quite a big education gap. This is from a Reddit subpost that I'm gonna also link in the description below. And this person teaches high school, and they notice that the students that are between like 15 and 18 reading at a grade level like a third or fourth grader, and then they have trouble writing complete sentences. They can't spell simple words, and they can't even add or subtract double digits, and they have trouble with multiplication tables, rounding, the concept of negative numbers, and even just percentages, and that's quite disturbing to me. And but there's also some good news. They're saying that on the other side there are some high performance students out there, and that but there's a big gap between like the gifted honors population and the general population, and this is quite sad. And I'm thinking this is a part of this just because like there's a lot of economic stress out there. Just the other day, I was at a Salvation Army food pantry, and this gentleman that was trying to, I guess, like help with some extra food. He gave me his story, and it was quite upsetting. There's still a lot of worker abuse out there. This person was a repair technician, and unfortunately, he got into a car accident while on the job because he was working. he told me between like 15, 16 hour days, and this is ridiculous. Like the first thing is he didn't get paid his overtime, and the second thing he was owed back wages, and then just to like add insult to injury, this person didn't have like worker compensation, and this is quite ridiculous. And I think, hopefully does not, hopefully this isn't like a common thing, but if it is, this is a recipe for like a future like unrest and like, similar to like the Occupy Wall Street movement from the last global financial crisis. And this is quite quite disturbing. And there's also additional economic stress, even in the tech sector, where I'm kind of surprised to see there's quite a bit of like layoffs lately too, and this is adding to like more economic stress from people. They need to like, survive on like credit cards for like a while, until they get a new job. And there's definitely an uptick in the percentage of like credit card debt that's like 90 days plus like delinquent, and this is quite unsettling. And just to get to like the meat of the matter, I was actually quite surprised that to see this. I've seen variations of this in the past, and this is based off of Go Banking Rates surveys. So, I guess we have to take this with a grain of salt. The surveys might not include, people saving the money in like different areas. For example, like crypto, maybe they don't want to reveal that, but still, more than half of Americans will retire broke, and this is quite sad to me. This is one of the greatest countries in the world, and half the population can't even retire. I mean, just like if you add these two up, like 34 and 21%, so that's 55%. That's actually a little over half. And these numbers, I guess, will change depending on like the economy. But 34% don't have retirement savings. Like, and then the next like 21% is less than 10,000. And then even if like if you go to like the next bracket up, like 11%, 10,000 to 49,000, that, you know, even if you get like 10%, that's only like at the top end of the range, like $5,000 a year. That's not gonna really help. Even if you have like Social Security, I don't see how you can, you know, like survive, and this is quite disturbing. So, but I'm guessing, I'm hoping that like these numbers are a little bit skewed, just because like maybe like there's quite a lot of like younger folks on like the down end of the scale, which makes a little bit more sense. But still, even if you're on the younger side, I guess like don't give up hope yet. Uh, if you're below like, the 50,000 like threshold, there's still a chance for you to like compound and earn money if you put your money in the right places. And hopefully you can get to like eventually get to like the 300K plus, where the top end of the range is. And another thing is, it's not even a wealth gap anymore. This is more like a wealth chasm. And I want to thank Marcus Liu from like Visual Capitalist for supplying this great graphic. Like over time, you see like the top. This isn't even like the top 1%. Like if you look closely, the share of wealth owned by like the 1% of like the 1%. This is pretty alarming. I mean, if you've made money from like your business or you worked hard, like, I'm not gonna fault you for that. That's not your fault. But I mean, this is quite large, and I guess this will probably be like a controversial thing. But something seems wrong when only like the top 1% hold this much of like the wealth, whereas over here, like back in like the 1990s, I mean, sure, like you can make the argument that even back then, like the top 1% had quite a large sum of like the wealth, but now this is getting like larger and larger, and and when you see like the bottom 50%, I mean, there's definitely something. Well, I don't want to say wrong, but there's definitely like something going on here. So I guess like the too long don't read of this is like, I think PvP mode will continue. I think it's very important that people do their homework. And the second thing is, I think for like people that are still working for a living, please watch out for automation and outsourcing. I was actually a victim of this way back when. I had my job outsourced to in two places, both to North Carolina and in India. And unfortunately, I think this trend will continue. And I'm quite fortunate that there's still like investments out there that can help you people retire. So I think like to end this, like the pros are, I think it's still a good time to be alive. Like for certain folks, I think for people that are willing to work hard and willing to do the homework, I think you'd still come out ahead. There's still quite a miracle in terms of like the technology out there. Like you can access like knowledge at your fingertips quite easily. But I think in like again in general, even with like the advances in technology and also like the new innovations in like these ETFs, uh, they're very helpful. But I still think that it's still good to have like your basic income-based investments, such as treasuries and dividend aristocrats, etc. Of course, like the risks are, this will be quite stressful, especially if you're on the younger side, and you still haven't accumulated like a decent like kind of like an investment portfolio yet. You're gonna have to outthink and outwork others. And of course, like even with like high yield ETFs, the yields aren't consistent from month to month. But I am glad that the people on the younger side, they're quite ambitious, and you're willing to still engage in like side hustles just to make up like any shortfall in your regular job. Of course, like high yield ETFs aren't perfect. You still can't borrow against most of them yet. But I think like as time goes on, there'll be more leverage available against like these different products. But of course, like just be careful out there. I'm sorry to kind of bring like bad news, but I just wanted to share like the research uh, with you guys, and hopefully, you guys will make good decisions out there. If you like this type of content, please consider giving this a like. All subscriptions, old and new, are greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great one out there. And please make some good money out there so you can save for retirement. Bye now.